Pecha Kucha 138, Powers, Who Killed Retro Girl, and Wolverine and the X-Men, issues 1 to 4. Superhero comics. Interesting premises both, but where they've gone, I don't know. I'll be looking out for more of them in the future. But so Wolverine and the X-Men is something I've actively avoided. Why would you put Wolverine's name above the X-Men? It's a marketing ploy, so it made me think this was some frivolous nonsense. And it is, but it's good frivolous nonsense. The X-Men's always a comic that's got a large cast of characters, and there's an interesting cast. It starts with Professor Xavier. It's implied. I don't know that it is him. I don't know why he's walking, and I thought he was dead. Walking away from the school and leaving it. The new school, which is under Wolverine's care. The Jean Grey School for Higher Learning. He gives it some friendly advice, and now Wolverine's left to run the place. Some of the interesting new characters involve a Brood, which is basically an alien from Aliens, but this one is a rather charming individual who doesn't just eat and impregnate things. And he makes friends with some of the other new characters, and I'm curious to see what they did with him. But there's also character development for old favorites like Iceman, who just seems to have new powers whenever it suits the writers, which is pretty much all the time, isn't it? But this is true of most of the X-Men. This is one of the many problems. But he saves the day from a giant, from the grounds, the school grounds, which are trying to destroy the school. This kid who walks up to the front door is the new head of, I forgot what they're called, the Hellfire Club. He just tells Wolverine to his face, "I'm the bad guy and I'm ruining your life and I'm going to continue to do so." A lot of this book is just like characters who just don't give a fuck. It's refreshing. Wolverine is actually not boring in this. He's trying to do the right thing, but by night he's a member of X-Force and there's some kind of Black Ops, Special Ops team. I mean, if they let Deadpool on. So it feels like a very interesting start to a comic book series that has the potential to be really bloody good. One of the school students is a clone of Apocalypse, and everybody kind of knows it but doesn't want to say it. Deathlock here is like reading people's futures and just outright refuses to tell Evan what his future is because he knows he's going to kill them all. So interesting stuff. Powers is another book I was avoiding in the library for years. Predominantly, I guess, because it looks a bit too much like Batman the Animated Adventures. But I thought, since it's written by Bendis, and I haven't read anything by Bendis I've liked recently, I'd better make sure that he can do good work. So it starts in typical Bendis form with a bunch of dudes talking over each other, being pretty fucking hostile. But while it appeared to be a red flag, it turns out that this is good stuff. The main character's a cop. He ends up in a hostage situation, and then he gets into the situation with a superhero who's died, and this is a murder mystery from the perspective of the cops. Look at those broad shoulders. I do appreciate the cartoony style of this. I feel it makes a lot of these characters quite endearing. The main character is kind of 3 pages in. He's stuck with a kid who says some very inappropriate things. Bendis has a dark humor to him, and on this occasion it works because it's offset by this Bruce Wayne shouldered motherfucker. It's great. And his partner in crime is a gung-ho ex-SWAT member who shows her appreciation for her new partner by kicking him in the chest after asking him if he has powers or not, and going behind his back and looking at his mail, his private mail. Somehow they end up getting along. It all makes sense if you read it, but it's an interesting cast. There's also an outright fake Iron Man who is one of the prime suspects in the murder of Retro Girl. He's literally just a Tony Stark 20 years removed and about as much of an asshole as you could be. Does he have a... Yeah, he does indeed have a earring and everything. So by the end of the comic, you do know who killed Retro Girl, and you also know some secrets about the main dude, which I wish they dragged out, but at the end of the day, if you don't give people reason to come back and read more of your comic, you can't sell it. So I appreciate they did that. I will be looking for more Powers in the library. I also did actually do a few sketches. What I was going to do initially was like talk about all the stuff in the comics just from sketches I did of the art, but at the end of the day I just couldn't be asked to do that many sketches, and there's too many things to talk about, not enough time. I could have talked about either book separately. This is Quentin Quire, the Kid Omega or Omega Kid, superpowered mutant with a very predictable character arc which will never finish because nobody ever has a finishing character arc in a Marvel comic, but nevertheless the next generation looks like it will be interesting. I did end up drawing sketches of Apocalypse. I was trying to, because I was inspired by the whole Evan Sabanur thing, but I couldn't really wrap my head around the perspective I was going for. I wanted some kind of worm's eye view thing, but with like a broken up cityscape in the background. Yeah, I've been out of drawing way too long to be figuring that shit out. And then just Apocalypse, his character design isn't what I'd call appealing. I was trying to figure out how I would draw him in a way that didn't make him seem goofy. Even a Google image search, a lot of high quality art looks ridiculous just because his character design is the way it is. So Sad Clown of the Week. It seems the TV show Empire has been confirmed to be cancelled in the future. It may or may not have something to do with that guy fraudulently, allegedly claiming he was assaulted by two individuals and was a victim of homophobic and racial slurs. It's also possible that the show is just being cancelled because shows get cancelled all the bloody time. And if it's getting cancelled after its 6th season, it had a very reasonable run. I can't speak to the quality of the show. It may be too reasonable a run. But I think I read this in the Metro or something, and it made me chuckle on the bus. So I thought I'd bring that up, since it can't be Sonic the Hedgehog every week, can it? So that brings us to the end of Pecha Kucha 138, and I will see you next time.